Hope everyone can hear me. And good afternoon. I know we all are here after our lunch, so let's try to be interactive as much as possible, right? So in first session, we are going to discuss building B2C customer experience app. So let's start with that. Okay, cool. So, and I think Geeks already introduced me, so I'm not trying to repeat. So, about my photo, so I can assure this is me, right? You don't need any identity verification for that. This is me when I used to have some hair. I intentionally kept this image because, as you can see in a moment, I will use then and now analogy. So I thought of keeping my image back then, and this is me now, two versions, right? So you can compare. Cool. So let's get started. So this is the agenda for today. So we have 4 parts. The first, we are going to discuss what are the challenges in building customer experience apps, so that we can make sure everyone aware about what are the challenges when building the customer experience apps. Then we move into the fun part. So build a very simple but production-ready customer experience app. So we're going to build a very small React app, and we're going to add the production-grade security. So that's the second part. And my target is to complete that part within 10 minutes. That's a bit of a challenge, but let's see how far I can go. Then I will hand over to Django, and he's going to discuss all this identity-related cool stuff that Geeks discussed earlier. That's include the login flow generation using AI, rebranding using AI, and also the capability of registration using AI. Right? So that's what we're going to discuss. Finally, we will end with a preview of WSO2 roadmap. So before we go ahead, I would like to know how many of you here have a background in application developers? Okay, cool. So we have a very good number of developers here. And how many of you are here from like kind of a identity background, identity architect? Okay, very good. So we have a mixture of developers and identity architects. That's a really good set of people here. So let's try to be interactive as much as possible. Okay. So let's start with the first section. Challenges building customer experience apps. So here I have 2 different roles here, right? First, you can see customers. That's the most important set of people, right? So you are building this application for them. End of the day, they need to find these are useful, right? From their point of view, your customer's point of view, they need a secure, personalized experience. It's very important, right? And when I say secure, personalized experience, you need to honor their privacy. And also, you have to ensure their personal data are also protected and they have a right control on their data, right? So that's what you have to provide. So in order to provide this secure, personalized experience, as an application developer, you have to deal with a lot of challenges, right? So basically, these are subset of challenges. So as an application developer, even you, before you come here, you need to think about what's your underlying framework, whether it's going to be a single page application or server-side rendering. What is your database? There are a lot to decide. And this is just a subset from an identity perspective. So I'm not going to go through a whole list, so we don't have time for that. So I only pick 3, right? The first one is user onboarding. So back then, when 15 or 20 years ago, so good old days, as we used to call it, we all used to have a very simple HTML form. So anybody can come to this HTML form and fill it, and we store their data in a database. Quite simple back then. But nowadays, the onboarding become a very complicated thing, right? Still, you have this HTML-backed forms, but your users want to onboard to social medias. Right? They don't want to fill the form. They just want to onboard using their Google, Apple, or Facebook accounts, right? And then when it comes to some regulated industry like a banking and financials, for example, if you take a banking application, the customers want to onboard or sign up using the government or the state issued IDs, digital IDs. Or the latest trend is they want to use their digital wallet. In the morning session, we discussed about, Ricardo mentioned about the Italian digital ID project. And also I think there is another huge initiative going in this region, EI-2, right? So with all this stuff going on, you want to use your customers or your users to use their digital wallet and verify credentials to create this account instead of filling the HTML form. Then the last, identity verification. That is all very critical, right? Especially during the pandemic, right? We couldn't go to the banks or any other places. So they were forced to verify your document and your biometric through a digital technology. So with that, identity verification also became a part of user onboarding. So this is about user onboarding. Then user login. Again, back then it was quite easy. You just need to provide username and password and you're done, right? But nowadays, passwords are disappearing finally, all for the good reason. Then now you have identity federation, right? You want to log in using your social credentials or the government issues credentials, right? And then again, now it's a standard to use MFA and passwordless. Even the cloud players like Google and Apple are forcing the customers to use passwordless because this is much more secure. And then authentication earlier the authentication was static. Then we move it to the risk-based adaptive authentication. Now the latest is even not the risk-based authentication. The authentication has to be continuous. So we cannot satisfy with I authenticate this person like 1 hour ago or 30 minutes ago. The authentication has to be continuous. So this is where we are moving. So with that, the user login also becoming very complicated. My final point, the account management. Earlier, when it comes to account management, you had to deal with a couple of things. For example, provide some mechanism to reset their forgotten password or update password. Nowadays, you have a whole lot of things under the account management. This is just a subset, right? For example, you need to have mechanism to automatically account locking based on a failure passwords or account association, so that they can associate duplicates accounts. So it's very complicated. This is just the 3, right? So how do we implement these things, right? There are 2 pathways you can take. The first one is built by your own. It's perfectly fine. You just need 3 things. You need to have enough time, enough budget, and expertise. Not just to build, but also to maintain these solutions. If you decided that's perfectly okay with you, yeah, that's the one pathway. Or second one is you can integrate with out-of-the-box available identity provider. Then in the right side, I think this is familiar. This is I took from Sanjeeva's the morning sessions, right? So if you decide to build by your own, that's like you are building this platform thing. Rather than focusing your application, you're trying to build this underlying platform, right? And most of the time, you will end up creating yet another identity provider in-house. And you have to support it as well. So instead of that, what we would like to suggest is what is described in the second one, the diagram in the bottom. You focus on application and let us to worry about this platform thing. In this case, the identity infrastructure. So whether you need the identity verification, whether you need the continuous or risk-based authentication, we would provide that. And you worry about provide the great experience that your customers expect from you. So with that, so I will move it to the next section. So basically, we have get two products, but in this session, we are going to use Asgardeo because you don't need to download. You can just sign up using your Gmail or any other account within 2 minutes, right? Okay, these are the set of capabilities. Again, I just added for reference. And in Django's session, he will use some of these features in action. Okay, so I'm moving to the second section. Now we are going to create a real-world application. For that, I'm going to use Asgardeo React SDK. So we provide a set of SDKs for a lot of front-end technologies, JavaScript-based technologies, .NET, Spring Boot. We provide a set of SDKs. So I'm going to pick one of these SDKs, the React SDK, and I'm going to build a very small application. Okay, for that, what I'm going to do is I want to make sure maybe at the same time or right after this session, or maybe when you go back your hotel or your home, I would encourage you to try this quick start guide. So we have put a lot of effort to improve these quick start guides. Right? So this is one of them. So basically you can go through these quick start guides and you can try them out. So I will try this React guide within 10 minutes. So basically here it starts highlighting what you need to have. These are the prerequisites. We just need like a 15 minutes Asgardeo account. And if you are a JavaScript developer, you already have a Node.js installed. Otherwise, you can just install Node.js and then a JavaScript package manager like npm or pnp. So in this quick start guide, so we are going to create a React app using Vite. Vite is a build tool. In fact, if you are experienced JavaScript developer, you don't need any tool, but it's quite easy to work with Vite. So we're going to use Vite to create this app. And then we're going to install Asgardeo SDK and then add user login to our app. So these are the 4 steps we're going to try. The very first thing we have to do is we have to go to the Asgardeo and create an application. Basically, we have to register an application in Asgardeo. So let's do that. I will anyway refresh my console. Yeah, so I'm going to literally copy and paste from here. I'm going through this guide. So go to the applications and so I'm going to pick a single page application. Then I will add Asgardeo React as names, and we just have to provide one more additional parameter. This is the callback URL, which means when a user is authenticated by Asgardeo, the user need to be redirected to your application. So we have to provide that specific URL. And Asgardeo, in fact, validate that URL. Asgardeo does not redirect user to a random URLs. So we just have to provide that URL. We call that authorize redirect URL. So that's it. So then I will move to the quick start guide. And I can use this one. So I think I'm pretty much done with my Asgardeo configurations. So then I move into my VS Code. So I'm going to use VS Code to create a React application first. So again, I will move into my quick start guide. Now I completed my first step. Now I'm moving to my second step. The second step is create a React app. So I will copy this command. Yeah, so I'm done. So it has created the application for me, a very simple one. So I can go there. The Wheat is a very cool tool. So it provides all the instruction as well. It just guide me through the journey. So next step is npm install. So this pull all the required dependencies from npm registry and install them locally. Okay, cool. Now I can run my application. Right. So this is the application, very simple application. So to be specific, what we have done so far is first we configure an application in Asgardeo, then now I create a simple React app. So I create both things, but we haven't done any plumbing work. We haven't connected these two things. Ultimately, what I want to achieve is I want to secure the simple application using Asgardeo. So for that, what I have to do is first move into the step number 3. I have to install the SDK. So you don't need to separately download. You can just run this npm install command, and it would download and configure the Asgardeo React SDK for you. So I'm done with that part. So let's now move into the 4th step. So now we're gonna do some bit of a code here. So in order to work with Asgardeo SDK, you should use 2 elements or 2 React components. The first one is what we called as auth provider, right? The auth provider is a kind of a React context API, so that keep the state and make it available for our applications, right? So we don't need to worry about to communicate between Asgardeo and our React app. So behind the scene, it keeps that communication, right? So now I'm going to configure the auth provider. For that, I'm going to use this main JSX file. Again, straightforward. So if I go to the quick start guide, so what I can do is I can copy this value from here, and then I have to change these 2 configurations. But at this stage, I'm also after my lunch, so I'm being a little bit lazy. So instead of doing that, I go to the Asgardeo, and Asgardeo provide me the pre-configured settings. So I can just copy. I don't have to change anything here because this is already configured to my Asgardeo organization, and client ID is already there. So I can just copy it and add to my application. So I'm going to do that part. So I will remove that. Then I will wrap. Those who know React, this represent our whole applications. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap my whole application using auth provider, make it possible for me to access the state, the authentication state throughout my applications. So I can simply do that by moving the app element into the inside the auth provider element. So this is my first file modification. So with that, I completed my steps 4. So now I'm moving to step number 5. So I'm going to add the sign in button, sign out buttons, right? So previously I used auth provider, so I have to import it. Auth provider. Yeah. For the second step, I will go to the app.jsx. Previously I used auth provider. The second the SDK component that I have to use is the use auth context. So that is a React hook. So you already see a React hook here, the use case, the most popular React hook. Similar to that, Asgardeo SDK provide a use auth context hook. So I have to first import it. Yeah. So then, similar to the way we configure use state, we have to declare our the use auth context. For that, I'm declaring a constant, and this is an object. First, we have a state, then two functions: sign in method and sign out. So then what I'm going to do is, so I will keep the existing code, and top of that I'm going to add login button and logout button, dependent on the situation. For example, if the user is already authenticated, then I would add logout button. Otherwise, I would add a login button. For that, I can first check whether the user is authenticated or not using this is authenticated inbuilt function. This is already available for you. Okay, I'm going to use JavaScript ternary operator. So this is in this bracket. I'm going to add what element that I want to display if the user is already authenticated, and in this, and then if the user is not authenticated. So I will add inbuilt button component from React. I will call this as log out because user is already authenticated. If not, again I'm adding another button here, and I will call this as login. And the last step is I need to configure action for button, right? So I will use on click action and then provide the arrow function. I have already declared two method or functions here, so I can straight away use them. So if the user is already authenticated, then when the user click logout button, we want to sign out. And for this button, in this condition, user is not authenticated, so I want to sign in. Yeah, I think I'm done with my modifications, so I can restart start my server. Ideally, I should be able to see a login button. So now when I click this login button, so I should redirect, yeah, in this case, the browser redirects me to the Asgardeo so that I can log in. So you should have a user as well. So I have created the user earlier called Sam White. So I'm going to use this user. Yeah, now you are logged in, right? So we just use like 4 or 5 codes. Now we already plumbed. So you already integrated with Asgardeo. But it's, okay, now I complete the step number 5. So we are almost reached to the last steps. The last step would be to display some user attribute. For that, what I'm going to do is So I will first add the empty tag, otherwise the React would throw an error. And then I will use inbuilt paragraph component, and I will call welcome, and then using state. Earlier I used state object to check whether our user is authenticated or not. Now I'm going to use the same state object this time to access the username. So now if I go to my sample, as you can see here, the username is listed here, right? So this is a very straightforward, very simple steps, right? But as you can see here is basically our application is now well secured using Asgardeo, and you can access to the other attributes as well, right? So this just took like less than 10 minutes, right? So I will encourage you to go through these guides. Here I only use the React, but if you are not using React, for example, if you are using Angular or pure JavaScript or server-side or the full stack framework like the Next.js, so we have or Spring Boot, we have this quick start. So other than these quick starts, we also have this concept called the detailed guide, right? In case of detailed guide, so we have React detailed guide, Next.js, Node, .NET details guide. The kickstart are meant to be completed within 10 minutes or 15 minutes in maximum, and this complete guide cover every aspect you need to know as an application developer, and usually take like 1 hour to 90 minutes. For example, this is the React complete guide. Again, these are also very structured, so you can go through each and every step, right? For example, earlier I only demonstrated a very simple scenario. So this complete guide covered what if you want to call a protected API from your application, because what we developed was a SPA or single page browser-based application. So if you want to call the protected backend API, how you should do that, and securing routes. So there are React routers available, how to work with these routers. So everything is covered in this guide. So yeah, and these are the set of the capabilities provided by the React SDKs. So behind the scenes, the React SDK use React, and also other SDKs also use OpenID and WSO2 standards, which means although we brand them as Asgardeo, you can of course use it WSO2 Identity Server and with other standard-based product as well. So these are, and also these SDKs are open source. The source are publicly available, so you can modify if you want. And you don't need to about the security, because we made this SDK secure by designs, right? And we, as you seen already, we provide out-of-the-box function such as sign in, sign out, and to retrieve the state attribute. All these the capabilities are included in the SDK. So you don't need to really worry about dealing with the JWTs or WSO2Con type, those kind of stuff. You just have to integrate right SDK. Yeah, so I will share this slide with you, so you can go through the quick start guide, and also we have a nice quick start video, right? That would helpful, and the detailed guide. And as the head of DevRel, I have a small request to you. So please share your feedback. And also, so we always listen to our customers and users. And among them, you guys are very special because you are here, right? So we only supported subset of front-end technologies. But if you want to support some other front-end technology, please share with me. So I'm happy to evaluate. Right? So with that, I will hand over to Jayanga. So Jayanga will cover the other stuff like that geeks discussed in the morning, the AI-enabled login flow, AI-enabled branding, and also the brand new registration experience. So over to you, Jayanga.
Okay, good evening. So I'm going to continue where Sagar stopped. So basically, what I'm going to do is basically build the IAM capabilities that is available with the Asgardeo for the app that Sagar started to build. So to make sure that it is like aesthetically pleasing and it has to comply with our story. I have modified a little bit, so I'll show you the code. But this is also this is a same exact code. So basically, only changes that I'm using my organization URL and my client ID, and I have done some simple like UI modification to just make it a little bit nicer. So this is that application. So simply the only capability it has what Sagar stopped. So using this we'll like build the IAM journey step by step. So I'll quickly explain that what we are going to do. So first we are going to integrate with Asgardeo that Sagar did. So I also starting from there. Then we will be like using like several authentication mechanisms to show you that how we can use what kind of authentications. Then we will work on the self-registration part. Then like the question asked, I'll show you that how we can connect to an existing user base like LDAP or AD. Then I'll show you that how we can do a branding level. Then we'll move on to some specific advanced use cases like identity verification and kind of how to use these API customizations and custom integration. So up to this identity verification part, we can do everything with standard templates. But if you want to go beyond that, then I'll show that how we can use the customizations as well. Okay, so further ado, I'll start it. So, so again, you can try this with me. So I have added all the materials in the Git repo. So if you scan this QR code, you can find all the related materials and the guide. So you can either try it with me or you can later you can try. So all the resources are available here. I'll keep it here for small time if you can scan. And I think we are sharing the sites as well. So the link is available there. Okay, cool. Okay, let's move on. Then, yeah, so again, so as Sagar started, so I have a application created pizza shack. So the story I'm building here, this is a simple pizza delivery application. And so has a small, like in the beginning, we will have this Asgardeo login we configured. And now there are like a couple of other requirements. So I'll start with something like this. So we'll first modify the logins. So to do that, if you go to this application section, so if you go to your own registered application, there is a section called login flow. So here you can see that you can configure using a UI how the login happens. So at the moment, it is a simple basic login using a username and password. Now here, I would like to do something. So in my application, I want to like provide login using Google, right? So let me show you how to do that. So first we need to create a connection. So that means, so basically if you are going to use Google, you need to have you have to register in the Google authentication portal and you have to get an application key. So I have already did that. And then you can go to here called connection section and you can create a new connection. So in here we have templated certain set of vendors like Google, Microsoft, Facebook. And if there are like any other standard based things also, we can and so I'm going to use this Google. If you click Google here, so basically what you can provide is their client ID that you retrieved from the Google console and the client secret, and simply click create. And it will create this Google connection. After you create that, so I have already did that, it will be visible here in the connection section. So this you can see here, right? So I already got a client ID and client secret and I configured it, right? So now I'm going to add this to my application. So what you can do is, again, go to the applications, go to your application, the Pizza Shack application that I'm going, go to login flow. And here, simply I can add a new sign-in option here. So it will show what are the sign-in options now I have already configured. Now the Google will be there. So I'm going to add it. So now it will be there. Then I can click update. The update successful. Now if you go to the application back again, and if you click login, so now you see the sign in with Google option here. So simply if you click it, it will show whatever the options that you have. So if I click whatever the account, it will simply log in, right? Okay. So that's the one thing. Then I'm going to now this is also this is just a single factor authentication, right? You have option like or option. For example, either you can use the username or password or the Google. Now I'll show you. Let's say we need to increase the security of this application a little bit. So we are going to add a two-step authentication. So for that, I'm going to use TOTP. So the TOTP and OTP base, like there are like set of connections that we already defined, like TOTP, SMS, OTP, push notification. These are already configured. You can use one of them. So I'm going to use the TOTP here. So simply what I can do is simply go to the application in the login flow. I can click this plus sign, and here I can add the TOTP. Okay, now the TOTP authentication is added as a second factor authentication. Now if I click update and if I click login, let me log in with the same user. Now it will prompt for the TOTP. Now since I didn't register my TOTP yet, so it's prompting me to scan the QR. So this will be visible only in the first authentication after you register it with whatever the TOTP application. Next time it will prompt you to the enter the OTP value. So I'll quickly do that here. To change a little bit, I'll maybe use a different user. So now I already use this Google. Instead of I'll show you how to create how to use a inbuilt user. So now Asgardeo has this user management capability as well. So here there are like a lot of ways that you can bring in users. So the one mechanism is you can create users for your organization yourself. So to do that, you have to go to user management and click users. Here you can add a user. So I'll add a single user. So let me add a user called John. So these other details are not that much relevant. And I'm going to set the password by myself. So I'm going to use the password here and save and continue. Okay. Then you will see something like this. So basically, since now you created the user, you have to somehow send the username and password to that particular user. So you will see something like this. So you can simply copy paste and send it in that way. So there is other ways as well. So simply you can invite the user or any other ways as well. Now for this scenario, I'm using this way. Okay, now I have created the user. Okay. So then you can see the user's attributes and all those information here. Okay, now I'm going to use this user to log into the Pizza Shack. So click login. I'll use John and the password and click sign in. Okay, now it's asking for the Authenticator app. So I'm going to use my mobile authenticator. So I'm using my Google Authenticator in my mobile. So I'm going to add it. Okay, now now I can continue. Now I have to enter the code. Okay, now I'm there, right? Okay, so that's another way of doing it. Okay, now let's log out here. Now all of these configurations we did via UI, right? So here, so basically you can configure any number of steps, or like you can add any other same level sign-in options as well. So I'll show another one. So another cool thing like using current days this passwordless authentication. So I'll show you that how we can do a passwordless authentication here. So to do that, so we have like multiple passwordless options available. So for example, if we go to the connections, so and if we click the passwordless, so we have this SMS OTP, email OTP, the magic link. Magic link means you are sending a link in the email and you have to click there. And we have this passkey as well. So I'm going to use passkey here, and I'll show you how to add the passkey. So it's also very simple. So simply you go to the application, Pizza Shack, and go to the login flow, and I'll add it as a first factor one. So here I can select passkey. So in passkey also, so basically there is something called progressive registration. That means, so if you are using this in the first time, that means if you are not registered the passkey, you can allow people to register. To do that, we have to do a small modification in this conditional authentication script. So we use these scripts to modify the authentication flow based on the logic. So here we have like custom templates available. So I'm going to use one template called passkey progressive enrollment. I'm going to add it. Now it is added, and I click update. Okay, now update is added. Okay, now let's go back there. Okay, now if you click, if you can see the sign passkey option is there. Now if I click it, it will ask me for the passkey, but unfortunately I haven't registered a passkey here, so I'm going to cancel this. Now it will ask me for this progressive enrollment. That means it is asking me to create a passkey. So simply if I click here, then since now we need to be at least one step authenticated, it will prompt me for my username and password. So I'm going to use the same user, John, and John's password, and click sign in. Now it will ask me to create the password. So since I'm using a Mac, I can use my fingerprint as the passkey. So if I use the Touch ID, now it will create the passkey. So I can give a name, submit. Okay, something happened, sure. Okay, but yeah, anyway, that's the case. We'll see. Not sure why it's happening. Okay, now it works. Good. Yeah, so that's the passkey scenario. So likewise, so these configurations, like the progressive enrollment and all these are like configurable. So you can go to the connection and select whatever the connection you need to select. For example, passkey, and set up here in the settings section. You can do whatever the configurations that you need to do. Okay, cool. Okay, the next step. Now, all of these things, all of these configurations I did manually, right? So I created everything by drag and dropping and using this visual editor. But now, like in the keynote, as Geeks mentioned, so we have some AI capabilities available here as well. So we can use this natural language to generate the login flow. So I'll show that as well. So for example, if you want to click this try login flow, then we have to give a natural language input. So I'll give input something like this. So I'll try to build the scenario that we built earlier. So I'll type something like that. Use username and password and Google in the first step. Then I'll try to little bit improvise this. Since now I show you that adaptive authentication script, I'll show you some capabilities of adaptive authentication as well here. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to prompt TOTP only if in the first step they use username and password, right? So I'll try to generate that as well. So use username and password and Google in the first step. If user selects username and password in the first step, prompt TOTP in the second step. Okay, so basically I'm using username and password in the first step, and Google is also will be available there. But if in the first step user use the username and password, they should be prompted the TOTP in the second step. Okay, let's try. So we are using like LLM behind the scene. So there are like certain instances like we say LLMs are like hallucinate and do something different. Yeah, but fingers crossed. Let's see what it will do. Okay, so it's generated. Okay, I think so. It worked into a certain level. So it added the first step and second step, but again, not the way I wanted. Let me try it once again. Okay, so I have some predefined prompts as well. Let me try to use one of them. Might work. You see? So the same thing, it's so we are using behind the scene we are using OpenAI GPT-4 LLM for the this login. So basically, Asgardeo is hosted in Asia, so we are using Asia services. Okay, now let's see. Okay, the first part is successful. Okay, now it's created. So now it has added Google and password in the first step, and the second step is TOTP. But in the conditional authentication step, it has updated that only prompt TOTP if the first one is username and password. Let's try that. Click update. Okay, if I go to application logout. Okay, so I'll try the Google login first. It should not prompt the TOTP. Okay, it works there. If I log out, and let's try the username password. John. Now if I click, now it's prompting the TOTP. So likewise, yeah. So these features are Asgardeo. So I'm using the free tier. So all of these features are available in the Asgardeo for free users. So you can simply sign up and try it out. So I encourage you to sign up and try it. So every of these features are available in the free tier. Okay, cool. So that's there for the our login journey. Now I'll move on to the next section. So that's the registration part. Now here, what I did was I created the users, right? But that is not the normal use case. So normally there are like a couple of ways. When the industry comes, there are a couple of ways that you bring the users. For example, you bring your existing user base, or you let your users to register their own, right? So let's see how we can do that. So first of all, we can allow users to register themselves. To do that, what we can simply do is go to this login and registration section. Here we have the self-registration. And if you enable it, and okay, I'll come back here. Now, if you click login, here you will see a section called register, right? So if you click register, you can now self-register. So by default, we provide two options. Either you can continue with Google, or if you click continue with email, you can enter your details and self-register. So there are like a couple of properties available here. So we can do the account verification. So if you enable account verification, that means you cannot activate your account until you use an email. Likewise, there are like a couple of tweaks you can do here. You can write. But again, that's a simple thing. Okay, now I'll explain like there are like couple of other properties available here as well. Yeah, but yeah, before, yeah. Yeah.
Federated access for like social IDs, can you also add a registration on top of the federated? So for the federated access, like social IDs, can you still add a registration page on top of the login? So for example, somebody logs in with Google, can you put a registration page to ask them for additional information?
Okay, so
is there a flow that you can create like that?
Yeah, so what you're asking is, so simply first you register with Google, then ask some certain attribute from there, right?
Yeah, for example, they go in, they log in with Google, but Google doesn't tell us their date of birth, and we need their date of birth, for example, or their personal email address that we can add a form on top of that. So we'll log in, form, and then, okay.
Yeah, that is possible. So we can do that. So
and you can do that form to be only once. It doesn't have to be every single time they log in.
So basically what you can do is you can mark certain attributes that these are the required attributes. So let's say you need your telephone number, but let's say it's not available in the Google, right? So whenever, let's say in a scenario, maybe it's available in the Google or maybe not available. So in that scenario, if it is not available in Google, it will prompt to enter that detail. Otherwise, if that is available, it will be a silent registration.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'll show another simple thing here. So now we use here when we are like logging in, we use username here, right? But there are like certain in our requirement, there may be a thing that we need to use different login attribute as well. So we have something called alternate login attribute. So simply you go in here, you can enable either mobile or email as well for the login attribute. So if we enable this, when we go here, instead of username, you can either enter username, mobile, or email. But there is a certain catch you have to do, that we have to make sure that these attributes are unique across the user base, because otherwise we cannot uniquely identify the users. Okay. Now for this login, the registration flow also, now at the moment, what we in our capability, it is like it's predefined. So if you go to this registration section, so the attributes that you are asking are like it's predefined set of attributes. So certain set of things are mandatory. We have certain set of tweaks that we can do, like what are the where you can mark what are the mandatory attributes and what are the not. But most of these are like a templated thing. But now recently we have introduced a new feature called registration orchestration. So at the moment it is available as a preview feature. So it's we are not yet suggesting it to the production use, but you can try it out. So to enable this preview feature, what you can do is simply go here to feature preview and enable. So like what we did in the login section, now you can customize the registration as well. To do that, like when you enable this section, and if you go to the user onboarding, now you will see this new area. Now we can go, and here you can do the customizations. For example, let's say I want to add a basic authentication plus Google for the sign up. I'll add it first, and if I click publish, now if I go to the registration page, okay, now here it will show you that now it is asking only the username and the password, plus you have the continue with Google option. Now I can modify it a little bit here. For example, let's say I need to get the email address as well. So here there are like set of components that I can use. So I'll drag and drop email. We'll put it here. Then since now we are using only a single password section, I want to have this password confirmation as well. So I'll add another password field, and I'll mark it as confirm password. So here I'll mark it as confirm password. Label also I can change from password. Yeah, and since I have Google here, I have to connect my Google IDP as well here. Okay, now if I click publish and let's refresh here. Now that those details are available here. So I can simply register another user. Let's say I'll register someone called Jane. Check.com. Now if I enter password, it will match the password as well. If I continue, okay, so as I mentioned, this is also a preview feature. There are like certain things happening, but we are actively working on. So the timeline for this feature is end of April. So at that moment, we will bring this to beta level, so we can put it into production. So again, here another thing I want to mention. So we have AI capability here as well. So basically, you can use natural language to generate the login, registration paths as well. So here I'll show that as well. For this one also, I'll use some predefined prompt. I'll use something like this. So let's see how it works. So the idea of this prompt is, so basically, I will ask username, password, email, and in the first step, and we will send a validation email to that particular email, and we'll see user will only success after they enter this validation code. So let's see whether we can generate that. Okay. So this is also similar, the same model that we are using. So it's OpenAI GPT-4 model behind the scene. Okay. So based on the network latencies and the complexity of the prompt, it might take certain time. And of course, as I mentioned, this is a preview feature, so there can be certain hiccups. But hopefully, we'll see what comes. Okay, cool. So yeah, it has generated. So basically, as I mentioned, so it will allow Google username, email, and password in the first step. And if you enter the email, it will ask to verify your email. So let's see whether it works. Okay, it's published. Now if I refresh here, go back and click register. Okay, I'll try to use the same news. I hope that Jane is not created. Okay, I'll use a temporary email so that I can show that email is also going. So I'm using a temporary email here. Let's continue. Okay, again, sorry about that. But again, so I just wanted to show how we are planning to do it. So basically, when we are coming from the preview section, so you will see how it works. So again, you can try it out, you can play it, and you will see it. Okay, so that's about the registration. So I'll since this is a preview feature, I'll disable it at the moment. So that's how at the moment how this works. So you can try it out, and if it is not working, so you can simply disable this, and everything will revert back to the previous the normal flow. So simply disable it, and now if you go to this section, it will go away, and if you go back here, everything should be in the normal way here. So it will prompt to the normal one. So that's those guards are there because now it's still in the preview, so you can try it out. Okay. The next section I want to show is the branding part. Now here, if you see now, if you click the login, now here in this section, I have my own branding, my pizza shack logo, my color, my theme. But when you click the login, it goes to the Asgardeo brand, right? This is also that modern enterprise don't want. So they want to brand this as with your matching to your theme. So we can do that as well. To do that, so simply we have a section called branding. So here there are like a lot of levels of branding here available. Like you can start branding of your login page, your OTPs, like sign up page, everything you can brand here. And of course we have AI branding as well. So instead of customizing or tweaking anything, I'll directly go to the AI branding. To do that, simply what you have to do is you have to provide the URL of your website, and it will check whatever the images, colors, themes available there, and it will be applied to here. So since my application is running in the my local machine, I can't put it, but I have a hosted version as well, the same application I have hosted in. So I am going to use that. So it's the same application, publicly available. So I'm going to use that. So I'm going to give this website URL and click. So now it will read, try to get whatever the available themes and colors and try to apply. So let's see how it goes. So here we are using a different model. We are using GPT 3.5 because this has some graphic processing, color identification, not just only the text. Okay, now it got a certain level of information from that website. So it got the logo and it got the color theme. Now if I click save and publish, now if I click login, and if you go to the login page, now you should see the branded login page. Likewise, so it took the logo and everything. So we can do this to every section, like login, sign up. So here it should apply to registration as well. Now here is also. Okay, and we have the capability to like theme your emails, your SMS, everything you can theme according to your requirements. Okay, cool. And if you need to like revert back to whatever the previous theme, simply you can unpublish, it will come back to the previous one. Okay, so that's about the branding. And I'll now go to a little bit of advanced thing. So again, now I'm trying to match this to my story. So now my business is here a pizza delivery application. Now I have created login authentication part for this application, so that is working fine. Now I have another requirement to like register riders, right? So pizza delivery riders. So for them, I need their authentication, but I need to validate their licenses as well, right? So I need to do some visual level verification, right? So identity verification using visual cues. So to do that, we can use something called OnFido. So we have OnFido integration available. So OnFido is a service. So basically do identity verification. So simply what it do is it will check your face or the maybe license and verify against it, and it will provide whether this is a verified user or not. So to do that, to do this integration, you need to have OnFido account. So for now, I have created a OnFido account and already set it up. So it's available in the tutorial guide. So you can follow it and you can find out how to register it. But I'm simply here showing that how to integrate the OnFido. So I have already created this. So again, I can integrate into the application, but here, since this is Riders, I'm going to use a different application. So I have an application called Riders. So this is a portal for the riders. So if they want to register as a rider, they need to do this verification as well. So to do that, I have another application registered here in the Asgardeo called Pizza Shack. Sorry, not this one. Pizza Shack Riders. So here in the login flow, so I can configure the OnFido. So I already did that. So let's see. Let's see how we can go. So simply you click the login. So here so I have already created a user in Asgardeo, because this verification part, you need certain attributes. So I have created this Peter user because this OnFido is actually verifying your first name, last name, and the date of birth as well. So I have to add a date of birth as well. I can. Okay, now I'll use a different user here. Maybe I can use a John. Okay, I'll give a first name, last name. John Doe. I'll add a birth date as well. Click update. Okay, let's sign into this application using John. Okay, now since I have configured OnFido, to get whatever this to get access to this one of these plans, you have to verify your age. So I have added this button. So if I click verify age, so it will go through this OnFido verification. So I'll click start verification. So I'll use UK because I have UK driver's license. I can try it out. So I'm going to use driver's license. So I'm going to upload a photo. Okay. I have driving license. Okay, I have to upload. Continue. Upload. Okay, now it will. So I'm using a sandbox environment of this OnFido. So the thing is, the sandbox environment is it is not actually verifying anything. So simply the process is simply if you upload your license, and it will take a selfie of you, and it will match the image of your face with the license page, and it will do some background checks as well. if your license are in a supported country, and then it will provide us the verification result. Now, since this is a sandbox one, it will anyway verify it as with my face and say it's a valid one. But in the real case, it won't work like that. Now with how this works is, so basically this verification can take some time. So we have to wait a little bit to get that information. Now, in this instance, you get the verification details quickly, but in certain instances, it might take some time. So we have a back channel communication. We check time to time, and if only it is successful, then it will prompt to the validation results. Now, in this scenario, it was successful in the first instance. Now, you can see now I can click whatever the plans available here, right? Okay, so that's the identity verification. So I'll come into my last section, last part of the tutorial. So, sorry? I'll show that, yeah. So the last part. So as earlier the question asked, so how to connect the existing user store. So we have something called user and attribute stores here. So we can simply plug in a custom user store. So this is, we call the user store agent-based connection. So I have already configured one. So what you can do is simply you can install an agent. So if you go to the setup guide, it'll show. So simply you can download an agent, and you can install it in whatever the system that your AD or LDAP is available, and it can simply connect to that agent, and it will show the users available here in the Asgardeo. So I have already configured a user store, the LDAP user store. This is available in the Asia. Now, if you go to user section, and if you click down this drop down, so default means the users that is created inside the Asgardeo, and whenever you connect a remote user store, it will be visible here. So now if you go to the LDAP user store, you will see the users available in that particular user store. So there are like two ways of connecting users. One way is the read and write mode. The other one is read only mode. The difference is if you connect it in the read mode, it will be really fast. So the communication will be fast, but if you connect it with read and write mode, you can create users in that particular LDAP, but the communication will be a little bit slow. So that's the, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so one final thing I want to show, little customization that we can do. So as I said, now most of my tutorial are like, I show the things that is templated and available in Asgardeo. So like Sanjeev mentioned in the keynote. So we provide the abstraction. So basically all the things happening in the behind the scenes are closed, and what you will see is the templated things. But again, that may be not all the time the case. So there are like certain things that you might need to do the customization, right? So that capability also there. So I'll show a little bit of what are the customizations that we can do, and I'll show one demo as well, since time is coming to end. So we have these actions. So actions means, so basically whenever you do an operation, like for example, pre-issue access token or update password, you can simply plug in a integration and do whatever logic there. And we have these events as well. So whenever certain things happen, you can fire these events, and based on that events, you can do whatever logic there. And in these connections, as I earlier showed, that we have predefined connections like Google and Microsoft likewise, but you can write your own connection as well. So here I have already configured one called PShack Pin Authenticator. So this is a simple service. So basically pin-based authentication. This service also I written. So basically this is the code. So basically I have written a simple authenticator using React and JavaScript, and it is hosted. So the idea of this is you can write your own authenticator. So this is available in the tutorial. You can try it out and use it as an authenticator in the Asgardeo. Right. So I'll quickly show you how this works. So again, simply what I can do is I can go to whatever the application. So I'll use the PShack application in the login flow. I'll revert and I'll add this as the second factor, the pin authentication. So I have I'll add it. Okay. And I'll click update. Okay. So what this authenticator is simply doing is, so it's a hard-coded logic, because what I want to show is how it works. So simply it'll point you a simple HTML page to get the PIN number, and it will validate it against a hard-coded set of values. And if success, it will return true. So let's see how it works. So here, if I go to check and log in, so it will simply ask for the PIN. So I'll type some PIN and click submit, and it'll go back to the whatever the redirect page that you added there. So yeah, so that's it actually for the tutorial. I'll quickly go through like what is our roadmap available. So this is to tell a little bit about our roadmap for this year. So our main focus currently going into the IAM for AI agents. So as Geeks mentioned in his keynote, so we are like pointing toward this area. So how the AI agents can, how we can provide IAM for the AI agents, and how the story builds from there. So basically, if you are more interested in about this thing, so there is a talk happening tomorrow from Johan, and you can go get more information there. And there is our team there in the O2 bar, and we have a set of demos configured with our on-prem, and you can see those things as well. And another cool thing that we are trying with Asgardeo is this data residency in country. So basically, nowadays it's the compliancy and regulatory standards are like more into the action. So with the Asgardeo is a SaaS, so there we have to make sure that the particular region's data is stayed in that particular region. So we are like bringing a partnership with in-country. So what they are doing is basically keep their data in whatever the regions available. For example, if it is a EU, all of your data will be available in the EU. So again, if you want to know a little more about this, so tomorrow Godin is doing a session. So you can you are welcome to join there. And we are bringing new set of protocols as well, like CBAR, DPOP, auth first-party applications. So this is there to actually, so this is the underlying thing of Asgardeo. We are abstracting, but underlying we support these protocols, right? So if you are interested, if you're curious about those things, again, there is a session happening on tomorrow by Janak. So you can join there. And the final thing is that, again, Geeks mentioned this. So the IAM with customer data. So how we can cater to this customer data platform related things. So again, if you are interested in those things, again, another session happening tomorrow by Omidu. You are welcome to join. Yeah, I think that's all. Okay, thank you.